questions about what creative things we should be doing to bring more new businesses to downtown Des Moines.
As I mentioned at the very beginning, as these decisions, these location decisions that get made from anywhere from 6 months to 2 years out before there's an actual location picked, we have to certainly continue to market the region as a great place to live, work, and play. On the creative side, we talked a little bit about how do you differentiate your space. Do you get into the sustainability? If sustainable space is what the marketplace is looking at, and that's what the younger, more talented workforce is looking for, then it becomes a question of can you afford or not afford to upgrade your space that way. The other things on the creative side is you got to go back to some basics, really, and we're in the process of taking a look at our market and our targeted industry and doing some analysis of that. Getting ready to work with a consultant on doing some SWOT analysis across the industries in downtown Des Moines, and then look for those that could fill that space that are actually in a growth mode. So those are some of the things that, obviously the sustainability is one that I think we need to move to. But on the marketing side, you just keep staying the course. You have Choose Des Moines out there selling this region as a great place to live. And then from downtown's perspective, we're going to be taking a look at our targets and seeing if we're still on target, and find out what we don't know about them, find out which ones are growing, which ones are getting into segments that are in growth modes, and going after them. So.
Just like to add to that, again, it's going to take time to fill that up. Small business is just a segment of it. Again, a lot of the growth comes from existing businesses that we already have here. I know we're doing a lot of recruiting to bring in businesses to Des Moines, and I think that's important to do that, but there's not a lot of companies looking at that right now. I think you've really got to focus a lot of your efforts on the existing companies, working with them, looking for those opportunities to help them grow, whether it's a small, medium, or large employer. I think that there's a lot of industries out there growing right now. There's we're a big financial services industry here in Des Moines area, and I think you got to continue to look at that. The recession really started with the financial services industry, and we were fortunate here that we survived that pretty well in Des Moines. But you have healthcare, you have government. There's a lot of those areas that are continuing to grow, and that is part of what you're going to be looking at for new jobs. And I think overall that you look at last year where we were, and you had a lot of people talking about the revenues were down, and they're looking to cut employment. And you fast forward to this year, and we're a lot better from the standpoint of people aren't looking to cut. They're actually, and you can hear some of the numbers that they were talking about, is people are looking to hire, and which is good, or maybe it's more flat. And although they're looking to hire, they may not be looking to hire hundreds of people. They may be looking to hire 1 or 2 or 3, but that's still a positive sign. And we saw things even with DuPont and Pioneer announcing some job growth there. So the good news is there are some positive signs, but it'll certainly take a little bit of time.
Jim joked that he liked to see a good implosion now and then. And if you look over the history of our city and how it's redeveloped, we have not been afraid to implode buildings on occasion. When we built great new buildings in the downtown core and buildings were being vacated in the Court Avenue district area, entrepreneurs came in and recreated those, repurposed those into wonderful lofts, great bars and restaurants, lots of retail venues, and very little office in that area. When we envisioned the Western Gateway, if you remember what it looked like 15 years ago and what it looks like today, there's very little left in the Western Gateway that was there 15 years ago. Because once we had a vision for it, we were not afraid to get rid of those buildings and to create new opportunities. So I hope we continue that creativity. I agree. I think that if we just wait and try to find new companies to fill these office buildings, it's going to be a very, very, very long time. We need more creative visions like the East Village, the Court Avenue District, and the Western Gateway.
I guess I would just add to that a little bit more that one of the things that we can differentiate ourselves, especially in downtown, is if we were able to win the Google contest and have the high-speed internet access to downtown Des Moines. I don't know if the internet access per se would bring a whole lot to downtown. I think it probably would, because you'd have to have Google would direct some companies to make sure that the market works. But just the national notoriety to once again put Des Moines and the metro area back on the map on a national platform would be a good thing.